always. And again, boy, I tell you what, the gauntlet is over. 5 games to go. You win out. You finish 7-3. Looks like a great season. But again, I'm sure your kids, it's such a mental game. They're high school kids. I'm sure in their head they're going like, okay, the hard part's over. Now it's going to get easy. But they can't think that way, can they?
No, not at all. I mean, any team in our league is capable of beating anybody else on any Friday. So, yeah, that's obviously one of the things that we as a coaching staff have to make sure that we keep on the forefront of our kids is that, hey, it's a one game at a time. You cannot look past anybody because, as you know, 2 years ago, with a very good team with 3, now really 4, 5 Division I and II players, we went and lost to Clay. So I think our guys understand that at any given time on a Friday afternoon, if you're not locked in, you can lose the game.
The one question I absolutely have to ask you tonight, what took you so long to get out of the locker room Friday night with the 7:15 kickoff? Because Whitmer came out there so early, and we're sitting there going, where's St. John's? Where's St. John's? Were you stretching somewhere else?
We were stretching somewhere else. And the other thing about that is it was a 7:15 kick, and it was still raining. Right. So we were just keeping our kids in as long as we could to keep them from getting soaked. The other thing that was really interesting about that game is that, 2 weeks before when we played Berlin, there was some heat lightning about 24 miles away, and they evacuated the field. At that game, it was actually, we saw it on the west side of the stands, and at no time did they pull us off the field. That was the other thing. We just knew that we were going to come right back in because when you look right at the radar,
it was an interesting game because Whitmer was begging you to run the football. Man, they were playing a 3-man front. Mm-hmm. You're running Carson Toth. You're running C.J. Valentine off that left side. You probably had more confidence in the running game maybe than you've had all year.
Yeah, we did. That's just a matter of taking what the defense gives you. We hadn't prepared for that. They had not shown that to where they were rushing 3 and dropping 8. That was something that they did specifically for us to try to neutralize our passing game. And for the most part, at times it did. But once we got our bearing about us and realized exactly what they were doing, we were able to put some drives together.
Brady seemed a little frustrated Friday night. I have to tell you, I really thought of all the games we've played, first 5 games, I've never seen DBs close on the ball as quickly as the Whitmer kids did.
Mm-hmm. Whitmer kids. Well, it was one of those things. They had a nice plan, but when you're dropping 8, you're going to have the ability to close. Right. But that opened up the run, and you see why we were able to rush for more yards than what we traditionally were able to, just because the other side of things is people stack the box. But with what we have from a passing standpoint, I think you'll see more and more people take that approach. I don't know we don't know what Fremont's going to do, but I'm assuming that they're going to do the same thing. They have 3 guys that are really pretty good rushers in number 77, 60, and 79. So I think they'll think they can get pressure with 3, and they'll drop 8 as well.
We read so much about Jared Banks. What did you get? What was your impression of seeing that young man?
Great back. As hard-nosed as they come. Talking to their coaches, some of our coaches are really good friends with their guys. We knocked the ball off of him twice, and he had never fumbled. He had never fumbled in a game. They said he doesn't even fumble at practice. So once that happened, they said he took it to a whole nother level, and you could see that on the field. The kid was turning those legs, and the first hit was never bringing him down, and it took, like I said, it took a bunch of guys coming hard and fast to finally get him down. So he did a nice job.
What was the one good thing you thought came out of the game for you guys?
I think our kids are resilient. They're still playing hard. Even when situations get tough, there were a lot of third downs on that final drive that we had them in 3rd and long, and they just got enough to get the first downs. And our kids just wouldn't quit. I think the biggest thing about our kids is they're starting to mature, and they realize that it's not always going to be perfect. And just stay the course, and then we'll be okay.
There were so many situations in that game that stood out, but for me,
1 minute, Gary.
It's a 14-14 game. They get possession in the second half, and you have them in a 3rd and long. Mm-hmm. And Spidell He's got Riley Keller by the shoulders, and somehow, some way, he got that pass off and completed. To me,
that was a play of the game.
It was a play of the game.
Without question. Without question. You know that because you're a sports guy. I know that because I'm the coach. And that's what Riley Keller brings to the table. That's why he's a Division I quarterback. Nobody else makes that play. Nobody that we play makes that play with a 225-pound man wrapped around him as he's falling down, flicks the ball, and completes that pass. You know, that's the Riley Keller effect, and that's why he is the kid he is. And you have to take your hat off to him.
Talk a little bit about Fremont Ross for me.
Good team. Good team. The record is not indicative of what they are, the talent that they have. They just, they've had some bad breaks, but they're the kind of team that if they let be the game they're in. So we have to do a great job of starting fast, and they have a really, really good defensive line, the best defensive line we've seen thus far. So we're going to have our hands full with those guys, but we've got to be able to do some things to neutralize them.
Perfect. Good to see you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, my friend.
When we come back, Hall of Fame inductees Tom Cole in the house. Hall of Fame ceremony coming up on Friday. We're live inside the Coach's Show in Maumee. 107 The Wolf. Everybody, we're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. As promised, Hall of Fame inductees Tom Cole, Greg Richard in the house. I'll go to my broadcast partner first, Tom Cole. 1969, man, you're the very first graduating class. I mean, for you, celebrating all these years at St. John's, this has to mean a ton for you.
Gary, first of all, it's an honor to work with you in the broadcast at SJ. You and Big John, you guys do a remarkable job. But, yeah, it makes you reflective. It does, Gary, and I'm sure Greg will talk about that also, Greg Richard. You look back on all those years and the great teammates that you had and classmates and those associations and friendships. And when we started at St. John's Jesuit, it was St. John's, not Jesuit then, and even though it was a Jesuit organization. As a matter of fact, the nickname for the school, you might appreciate this, Greg. You'll like this, Gary. The nickname for the school, when we got to vote. The first class, freshmen, we come in, you vote, we fill out the little papers, and we voted for Vikings. the school. We voted for Vikings, right? So it comes back, and the Jesuits said, listen, Vikings are dirty, smelly, not good guys, right?
Oh, man, don't tell the Evergreen folks that, man.
I'm just repeating the Jesuits.
Yeah, I know.
Greg will have to defend this later when he's on. So anyways, we take another vote, right? Comes back again. Vikings. So the third vote that we have, and it wasn't even on the ballot to pick from, the write-in, it was still Vikings, but Father Libens, or one of the Jesuits, made an announcement. And the winner on the voting is Titans won. And it was like Cook County, Chicago. The Jesuits changed all the votes. We would have been Vikings, but it's Titans, and it turned out great.
I love it. Greg, for you, the Hall of Fame induction, what's it mean to you?
I was telling my wife, talking to her at length about it, it's somewhat overwhelming. I came here in 1985, and it's a lot of years. And this week I've been thinking about the 25 years I've been here. My son graduated from here, and I always get the date wrong, 96. And my grandson just graduated last year, and my son-in-law, Rick, he graduated like in 95. So. And I've seen a lot of things, so it's overwhelming, and it's a great honor.
Yeah, you said you've seen a lot of things. What have you seen in the last 50 years or so at St. John's?
I would say this. Well, when I came to St. John's, there were probably 16, and Tom would say, 16, 17 Jesuits.
Yes,
right.
And, and they were great, and they had a great impact on the school. As the years go on, there's less and less Jesuits.
Right.
And we have never lost our Jesuit identity, never. And even 2 years ago when we had no Jesuit, we never lost our Jesuit identity. And that's because of our faculty and staff are, to me, amazing. They get involved in mission so generously. So I've seen that change a lot over the year, for the good. For the good.
Did a great job of framing that, Gary. And by the way, it is humbling to go with somebody like Greg who's dedicated their life to the school. I mean, I'm talking about dedicating their life, and he's done that and done it so well. Okay, that was the tuition. And it's what Greg was alluding to. There were 2 lay teachers, and everybody else were Jesuits. If you can picture that, that's part of it. But why does it stay? I think what's happened is just taught you, so it's been passed down from generation to generation. It's the same Jesuit model. The best person you can be, community service.
So if there's one teacher stands out for you, who's your teacher?
Wow, that's like picking if your favorite child at home. Boy, that's a tough. Father McCauley. He was the principal and president when I was there. Big man. He smoked these big cigars. He was a man's kind of man. I mean, he loved football. He'd sit up in the stands. It'd be pouring down rain. Everybody's left the stadium, and he's watching us play, and he's got the cigar going, and we'd see him up in the top. I mean, he was just a great guy.
Watching through the years, Greg, what's the one thing that stands out at St. John's now that maybe didn't stand out in the past that maybe we improved from?
Well, I have to say our retreat program is in the Jesuit network. Our retreat program is seen as the best, or one of the best. So that's what's grown over the years. We had a retreat program, but it was more of a renewal days type thing. And we have now multiple day retreats for all 4 years. And in 1985, we started our Kairos retreat, which is a 3.5 day retreat. And it was our first one. I remember it well. Bill Urban. I picked Bill Urban to be one of my student leaders because he's so dependable. And he was so solid, rock solid. Now, he passed a couple years ago. And so I remember that retreat, and now we're at 217 Kairos retreats. So that's just one area but there's so many areas. It's hard you could pick one out.
Who are you going to think of first when you're on the field Friday night?
Well, I would say First,
Yeah.
might say my father.
Okay.
He's passed, but he always was very proud of me at St. John's. I would love to have him seen this, and he would have loved it.
How about for you, Tom?
This guy's a good interviewer. He makes you think. It makes
Yes,
you.
he's a good
That's a
interviewer.
great question, Gary. Really, it would be three people: my mom, my wife, and my daughter. My mom said, "You're going to St. John's." I was going to St. Francis. She said she wasn't religious, but she said those Jesuits, they will educate you. So you're going to that new school. I said, I don't even know if they're going to have teams. She said, you're going to that school. My mom, my wife. Without my wife, I would have had no career. And my daughter was the first water girl in the history of St. John's football. So those three people will be it.
Guys, enjoyed Friday night. Good to have you on tonight.
Gary,
Tom,
thanks so much. Honor to be with you.
Gary, thank
very
you as well. When we come back, we're going to switch gears. We're going to talk cross country with head coach Todd Black. We are live from sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Thanks, guys. Good to see you, dudes.
Great job.
Have fun Friday.
Thank you, Gary. Thanks for letting me enjoy that.
Thank you.
They've really been working hard. The younger guys have really stepped up. We have captains, seniors, Liam Seipel and Roman Mara. Both of them have been running really well. So the things we go on land on, we just about a week and a half. Well, actually less than a week, just over a week, right? And so that's kind of what we gear up for, is with a track championship. So we're going to see if we can put all our chips on the table and see what we can do.
Talk about the progression of the season, Ryan, a little bit.
Yeah, sure. First, it started off with the guys committed in the summer. So to get summer runs in, to have people buy in that early, it helps us move along through the year. And so then we did well in the Fremont meet. On to the next couple of meets. Just started the teams in the year.
Saturday.
You know, you're talking about the young guys. How much progression have they made, Ryan?
Oh, it's fantastic to have freshmen come in and push the guys that have already been there. So to have runners like Seamus Leonard and Cooper Hoyt come in and push our varsity squad is just fantastic.
You know, Todd, I know you talked about it before. Remember last year, the academy team was actually pretty good last year, weren't they?
They had some people out there. I don't know. Actually, this year they're actually better than what they did last year. They have a couple sixth graders and a seventh grader running really well. Last year, because 2 years before that they didn't have a team, and now they have it. 2 years in a row they have a team, so they're establishing some consistency. Different coaches, but it's just getting the kids running and understanding the program, and hopefully they can come and help the varsity and the high school cross country program in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, you really need that because, like with football and basketball at St. John's, there are so many academy kids that wind up playing varsity football, varsity basketball. Is that something you're really trying to reestablish at school?
Oh yeah, and when you don't have a program for a year or two, it definitely hurts. And we need kids understanding the concept of running and loving to run. And with our coaches in the academy, they kind of get some direction from us, and so then when the kids follow under their direction and they come into our high school and they know they'll be ready a little easier and to the level that we're asking them to do.
You know, Ryan, can you kind of tell in the off season what kind of team you're probably going to have in the fall?
It all depends on how hard they work in the summer. So when you show up to summer runs and they're working hard and you can see them out there getting their miles in, you know that we're going to have something special. And that's,
I was going to say, is it just basically showing up, Coach?
Oh yeah, just putting the miles in.
Yeah.
We don't do anything besides putting the miles in. That is the progression of what we ask them. It's like clay. You have a lot of clay to build things, and when August and September come around, if you put those miles in.
Yes, because talking about miles, you've got their own program, Coach?
No, we normally lift as a team,
Okay.
so the coach will design something for the whole team, and then they partner up and work together. Liam was like moments away from qualifying for states. Tell me about Liam's year so far. I mean, he's, as we looked at Tiffin, he was probably 5th in the region,
Okay.
and so that's pretty good. And I think he's got more race under his belt to show the area.
Here, go ahead. You guys can applaud. Go ahead. You can applaud. Yeah, we can talk about it. Guys, good to see both of you. Coach Black, Ryan, good to see you as well. When we come back, we're going to have a couple of runners on talking about Liam Seipel and Roman Morrow. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. And welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein. On with Josh Jump. We're going to board back at the Wolf, and suddenly got a lot louder here, didn't I? Yeah. I think Bob went up there and kind of turned up the audio a little bit. I want to thank BCSN for being here as well. Senior runners, Liam Seipel, Rowan Mara in the house. And Liam, tell me about the year so far. Talk about the season a little bit.
You know, it's been great. You know, being my final year here, you know, I've grown as a runner and also as a person through like my teammates in like every race. I just work from practice because, you know, I feel like I practice I race how I practice. So the work that I put in practice just affects how I race. I feel like without my teammates being there alongside of me, I feel like I wouldn't be able to accomplish anything that I have.
Yeah, how about for you, Roman? You're a senior as well, man. Talk about the season so far.
I think it's been a pretty successful season as a team. I think each and one of us bring a lot of different values to the team, which are really important, whether it's humor, just staying focused and things like that. And I think that all these different qualities help us to be really good as a team, which is really awesome. For me, I kind of have like a little mental piece that I need to get over. And so the best part for me is having my teammates to be right there with me, to push me, make me laugh, and just work together as a team, which always helps me.
On a cross-country team, as compared to maybe a football team or a basketball team, is there like one guy who's the vocal leader, and who would that be?
I would say vocally would be Roman, because he's always he can be funny but also serious, especially on race days. You know, I look up to him a lot. I've been with him since freshman year, coming in when I was planning to run freshman year, and I've been alongside with him. So I feel like he's the most vocal. And he's always, I know he's always there for his teammates.
And again, Roman, you got some young guys on the team. What do you tell these guys?
Well, I think a lot of guys can get down about themselves, and sometimes I've been in that type of position where you might not have the best race, or you might have not raced as you wanted to, and I tell them, you know, you got so much time to learn, and as a runner, there's a lot of things I've gone through my 4 years at St. John's, and what I can do is apply what I've learned to these guys and help them not make the same mistakes I have, and just help them keep their heads up, because they're all great runners, and they all are so talented. And if they can just keep their heads up and keep that mental strong game and just be positive, that's what helps keep us on track, and I think that's the strongest thing.
You talk about things you've gone through. What in particular is probably the biggest thing you've had to go through in 4 years?
Back to that mental piece, I think a lot of what running is it's mental. It's having that positive type attitude, staying focused and telling yourself, you know what, I can do this. You want to erase all that type of negativity and put the positivity in. And so I think the strongest and the biggest challenge for me is just staying positive no matter what, no matter if it's raining outside, no matter what the conditions are. It's keeping those eyes up and just staying focused and just empowering people just to see the best in every situation.
How about for you, Liam? Again, you've been at it for 4 years. Last year we were so close to making it to the States. Was last year kind of like just a blip for you? Did almost making States come out of nowhere? How did that happen for you?
I mean, I feel like it was just a lot of hard work and, you know, dedication to running, because I mean, ever since freshman year when I started running, I mean, I've had a lot of confidence given to me by Coach Black and Coach Schoonmaker, because I know them and also my teammates just believe in me, and I feel like that kind of motivated me to just work my hardest. And when I got to that regional meet, a lot of my teammates came to support, and that just meant a lot. And knowing that they're going to be here also this year, and hopefully we can go to the regional meet as a team and even to the state meet as a team.
What kind of numbers have you been putting up as far as running times? You know, personal records. Are you much better than last year? Can you talk about that a little bit?
I'm about 10 seconds faster than my fastest time last year. So last year at the regional meet I ran 16:36, and this year at TIFF I ran.
Now, again, I was going to say, when you're looking into region in general and you're looking at those times, how do you match up with the guys in the area?
So, like Coach Black said, I'm about like 5th in the region, but I know a lot of other teams have been putting in a lot of work as well, so I'm just trying to keep my mind focused and make sure that I don't think that I can just get in. I have to, you know, I still have to work hard, and I know that my teammates are going to work hard as well.
I was going to say, Roman, talk about the track meet coming up, the expectations for the track championship.
I think what I would love to see is us winning. I think we can do it. It's going to be a close race between all teams. Everybody, the talent and the competition is really close together. But I'll tell you what, St. John's has always been a great running team, and I think if we work together and we believe in ourselves and we stay focused during that race, we can come out with something great. And that's just working together and just keeping that positivity.
And again, probably part of the lead into the conference championship is looking forward to the stuff down the road, isn't it, Liam?
Yeah, I feel like, seeing how we've grown as a team, and I feel like if we just, I feel like I agree with Roman. I think we can win the track, and, we're so close to just winning it. And, I mean, this past week we came in second at Clay, and I feel like that just boosts our confidence to say, you know what, if we just keep working how we are, and now we're getting into tapering our mileage. So I feel like now that we're going to be nice and strong for this coming up week, that we have a great chance of winning the track.
Perfect. Always good talking to you guys.
Thank you very
Roman,
much.
good to see you. Liam, good to see you as well. When we come back, we're going to have junior runner Sam Ingham and sophomore runner Anthony Patton in the house. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show and 101. Back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein, along with Josh Jump. He's working the board back at the Wolf. Joining me now, junior runner Sam Ingham and sophomore runner Anthony Patton. I'll go with Sam first because you're the older guy. Tell me what your expectations were coming in this year.
My expectations was I thought we were going to have a good team, but I didn't think we were going to be as good as we are. I thought that we were going to have a decent team, but we got some good freshman runners that came in, and we had a couple guys that really improved over the season. Jacob Moon really improved, and Anthony really improved. We got some guys that really improved over the season. I thought their summers were great, and we just came out and we really ran well this season.
So, Sam, have you been running since your freshman year?
Yeah, I started running my freshman year. I ran track in the spring, and I've just been running.
Now, did you run in grade school as well?
I ran in junior high. Yeah, I ran 7th and 8th grade year.
Did you have family ahead of you? They were cross-country runners?
No, not really.
Okay.
I had a cousin that ran, but my dad played soccer, so.
Okay. So you got away from soccer. You look like you could be a soccer player. What made you decide not to do soccer
Well,
anymore?
actually, I played football up until 6th grade,
Okay.
and I was pretty good at running, so I thought I'd just try it, and I fell in love with it. So.
Wow. How about for you, Anthony? How'd you get started?
I started back in kindergarten because my mom runs a lot, so I kind of just followed in her steps.
So you followed her stuff. Did you run with her every day, or even before you got started?
No, not really. I kind of started at my grade school, St. Patrick of Heatherdowns.
Okay. Talk about that. When you're at St. Pat's, the grade school programs, what are those like?
Well, I mean, you just gather around. I mean, they aren't nearly as hard as they are in high school, but they aren't that bad.
Talk about high school. What's been the biggest thing you've had to learn so far?
Uh, Team. It's all that you need. Team. You need
Yeah, what have you had to learn in the last 3 years?
It's pace myself. I usually like to go out really fast and really like hard, and then I just peter out in the end, and I just learn to like kind of like keep it going. You can both push each other to like go faster, and it just helps to have them out there running with you. And the more competition you have, the faster you're probably going to go.
For you, Anthony, what's probably the best piece of advice you had coming into the season?
Get out fast. It's way easier to get out quicker than to try and work yourself up in the middle of the race.
You know, as the year's gone on, what's been your biggest improvement since the start of the season?
My times.
And again, in what way? Why do you think you've gotten better? I think in particular, as far as your strategy going in, things like that.
I think it's just like passion, because I mean I didn't really take that seriously my freshman year, and now like I'm completely like dedicated to it, so I'm focused.
For you, Sam, did the strategy change for you as well?
I had a little strategy change. I would usually go out that first mile really fast, but I kind of started to reel it in as the season went on. But I also agree with Anthony. I think it's more dedication. I wouldn't like try my hardest in practices, or like maybe show up to Sunday practices. But like this year, I really committed myself to cross country, and I've really seen improvements in my time.
Yeah, talk a little bit about your expectations going in when you arrived at St. John's, and how has that changed in the last couple of years for you?
When I arrived at St. John's, my freshman year, there was no way I was going to keep up with these guys. I was like, oh, I'm going to be just a JV runner my whole career at St. John's. I didn't think it would go well, but like my sophomore year, I really had a kind of a breakout year, and that really helped my confidence, and that really helped me just overall as a runner.
How about for you, Anthony? Has it kind of turned out the way you thought, or was it harder than you thought?
It kind of was harder than I thought. I mean, I really thought I was going to be JV until I realized that, I mean, I could have a shot here to be varsity. So, I mean, I got varsity, and I was happy with it.
Perfect. Nice meeting both of you guys.
Nice
Good
meeting
luck
you
at the
too.
track championship. When we come back, we're going to have sophomore runner Jacob Moon and freshman runner Seamus Leonard are in the house. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's. Welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. I'm Gary Sensenstein with Josh Jump, working the board back at the Wolf. Joining me now, sophomore runner Jacob Moon, freshman runner Seamus Leonard. And Seamus, I got to ask you first. It's like you're the freshman on the team. Obviously exceeding expectations. You probably didn't expect to make the varsity.
Yeah, I didn't because, I ran, 23 minutes before I was on the team. So, I was very surprised. My goal coming into the season was just to break 20, and I thought that was ambitious. But, now I'm running in the 18s. So, I didn't really expect that, but, that's nice.
Why the immediate improvement, do you think, from 20 to 18 like that?
Well, because I didn't really work that hard, I guess, in middle school, but, on, a harder program, I guess, it just, brought out the best in me.
How about for you, Jacob?
It's definitely the difference between the junior high versus the high school, because high school is a lot more work. You're putting in work all the time, every day over the summer, and just always going out there doing your best. Coaches are always encouraging and always pushing you to do your best.
You know, Seamus mentioned the competition factor. What was that like for you? Was it one of those? Was it overwhelming at first? Tell me what the experience was like.
It wasn't too bad, just because I ran junior high, but it was definitely different because it was a lot more competitive. Because, in CYO, you'd always have teams that were, okay, but, here in high school, it's everyone's more prestigious and better overall.
Other than time, Seamus, what kind of stood out for you? What made you realize that you could run with these guys?
Well, on some of the workouts, I was up, they put me in they split it into two groups, and I was in the first group, so I was all right, that's cool. So then I guess I kind of considered myself up there, so I just kind of worked with the faster guys, and I guess that made me faster.
Tell me about the first event, the first meet that you ran. What was that experience like?
Well, it was pretty cool. It was kind of a weird course. Out at Fremont, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was, it was just getting acclimated and seeing what a high school race was like. So it was pretty cool, yeah.
What was the thing? What do you remember the most about it? Do you think that you're in the middle of the race, and after the race was over, it's what was the feeling you got out of that thing?
I was really happy with the time I got because I didn't expect to get that time. So I was really. I was just really happy with the result of the race.
How about for you, Jacob? Is there a meet that stands out for you this year?
Definitely Tiffin Carnival, because it's such a huge race, and to do good on that race, have my PR on that race is just phenomenal, for me, and a lot of the other runners also had their PRs and stuff. So it's very important to see yourself versus so many other teams and how you place with them.
I've heard so much about the Tiffin Carnival. What is it about the place? Is it just the atmosphere, the number of teams? What stands out at that event?
It's definitely the atmosphere that comes from so many teams, because you just see your competition is always near you, and there's no spot where it's just you by yourself. You always see everyone. You see the races. The open race, there's so many teams in there. There's I want to say 1,000 kids in that race. It's a ton.
And how about for you, Seamus? What was it like for you in Tiffin?
Well, it was really awesome because I'd never been at a running event that large before, and I loved the atmosphere there with all these other people that loved running as much as I did, and I thought the course was pretty cool there too. So, yeah, I just liked it a lot.
Guys, good to see both of you. Seamus, good to see you. Jacob, good to see you as well. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up with Director of Athletics Bob Rooney with the Chick-fil-A athlete. Welcome back, everybody. We're live from Sidelines in Maumee. It's the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf. Joining me now, Director of Athletics, Bob Ronay. He has the Chick-fil-A Athlete and Teacher of the Week.
Well, again, thanks to our friends of Chick-fil-A over on Airport Highway. And our Teacher of the Week is Libby Kyle. Mrs. Kyle teaches in the English department, and her commitment to SJJ is greatly appreciated. One of our best teachers there, and she just does an excellent job with our kids. Student Athlete of the Week, again, is junior golfer Joey Hoppenjohns. I'd say Joey recently claimed the low medalist in the track championship, helping the Titans claim another team track championship. And on Tuesday at the sectionals, Joey claimed low medalist and helped the Titans advance to the district, which is I believe next Thursday. This week, Joey was also named the Toledo Blade Spotlight Athlete of the Week and WTOL Channel 11 Student Athlete of the Week. So congratulations to Joey. I tell you, he's coming on strong right at the right time.
You know, it's good to see Joey get that recognition, because I know Moose and I were talking about it. This year has just moved up since that term.
I tell you, he's just gotten better and better, and you know, you can see the confidence. When I was out there at the sectionals, you just see it out there, and he's been a great leader for this very young team. You know, I don't think people realize how young we are and everything, and they're having a great year. You know, winning the track. They came in second at the sectionals. Top 5 teams moved to the districts, and you know, next Thursday is going to be real. You know, it's going to be interesting. Because the only 2 teams make it down to the state. So, you know, we're one of the favorites, and of course, Joey's one who's going to be leading us. One thing I want our listeners to know, it's not down in Finley like it's been in the past, not at Red Hawk. Red Hawk, believe it or not, is closing or going to be sold. But they are, so it's the district has been moved to Sycamore Springs Golf Course.
Speaking of tournaments, I know that, you know, obviously golf already won the track championship, but soccer has already clinched their title as well, but they have their draw coming up this Sunday, too.
Yeah, the draw coming up Sunday. Still have one more game to go, and I don't want to confuse our listeners either there. We've won outright won the track championship. We still have Central Catholic, I believe, it's their last game, and then next Thursday is senior night. Next Thursday, senior night against Southview and everything. So come on out, support the seniors. But Sunday, we'll know late Sunday evening, early Monday morning where we're gonna go, what's side of the bracket, and where we're going to be seated.
And of course, Crew had the big Frogtown Regatta over the weekend.
Yeah, it was great weather. You know, it was beautiful out, especially after that stormy Friday night football game. But it was great weather. The kids did a great job. Frogtown. You know, TRC does an exceptional job. They really work hard. I know our parents in particular are very involved with it. 2 minutes. And it's just a great event.
And again, Hall of Fame weekend this weekend. We're going to have the Hall of Famers on the field on Friday night.
Yeah, it's just great to have. And, you know, we had two of my favorites here tonight. You know, my office is right next to Greg. Greg works so much with our athletes, with our teams, with what I call our Jesuit way of coaching. And of course, Tom Cole, he's our MC at all our banquets, athletic banquets, and he's teaching, as you know, we'll have him on next week talking about the broadcasting class.
Again, talk about the class a little bit. I mean, Tom will expand on it next week, but it seems like the broadcasting class has really expanded their horizons.
Oh yeah, it's been Tom, when I first got there, was teaching a broadcasting class, and they brought it back this year, and we're really excited about it because we're expanding on a lot of different things. You know, we got one of the students doing the cameras right over here, Blaze, our punter on the football team, and you know, back at the Wolf, we have another one of our students. So it's again, they're both in Tom's class and everything, so they're getting a lot of hands-on, and one of the reasons why we're able to stream our football games live on Friday night off of our website is because our students are involved. And this week, again, we're going to have students doing interviews that are going to be broadcasted.
Bob, good to see you as always. I want to thank Sidelines, of course, with the BCSN folks for streaming this broadcast. Good to have head football coach Larry McDaniel in the house, Hall of Fame inductees Tom Cole, Greg Richard, head cross-country coach Todd Black and Ryan Shoemaker of Cross Runners, William Seipel, Roman Merrim, Sam Ingham, Anthony Patton, Jacob Moon, Seamus Leonard in the house. Next time we talk to you will be tomorrow night from Leiden Field at 6:30 pregame as your St. John's Jesuit Titans take on the Fremont Ross Little Giants. I'm Gary Sensenstein saying good night and all the best. We are live from Sidelines in Maumee. This was the St. John's Jesuit Coaches Show on 107.7 The Wolf.